Hello, my name is Emiliano from QualityClassroom.com, and today I'm going to teach you how to perform an API testing using one of the best tools out there in the market, with Postman. So let's stop talking and let's get right to it. Okay, here we are with the pet store, this test page that we're going to use today to test REST API. This is just an example page where you can create some pets and make some orders to a store and do some operations with users. For today's purpose, we're just gonna focus on the store part, and we're gonna post an order, and then we will try to get it back to see if it got created properly. Let's start with the post method. Here, what we can do, let's click on try it out. What we can do is we can create an order. For instance, we have to give it an ID number, a pet ID, let's put all one, and the quantity one. And when we click on execute, the system tells us code 200 OK, and everything got created, supposedly. Now, what we can do to verify if this request got properly stored, we can go to the other endpoint, to the get endpoint, where we get the things back, and let's click on try it out, and we have one mandatory value, which is the order ID, that before we set it to 1. So let's put 1 here, and let's see if we have everything back. ID 1, pet ID 1, quantity 1. All right. This is when it comes to Swagger. How can we do this? Through Postman. Let's jump straight to Postman. The moment you open it, you see this screen, and you have this plus button. So if we click here, we can create a brand new request. We said that at first we will start with the post method, right? We know that we can send the post method to store/order. If we scroll a bit down, we will see that down here we have the request URL. So all the requests have to be sent to this URL. So let's copy it and let's put it here. We said that it's a post, so we have to click on this drop down here and we select the post method. Okay, now we can just give it a try and click on send. Okay. We have an unknown error. Before proceeding, we have to think what happened, right? And if we go back to Swagger, we can see that what we did in the first place, we sent a body to the put. We have to tell the service, this is the ID that I want, with the pet ID, with the status of the order. So let's copy this, and let's go back to Postman, and here, we have the body. The only way that we have to paste it is by clicking in raw. So let's click in raw and let's try one more time. All right, we have another error with the same code, unknown, and if we read a little bit, it tells us a message body reader for Java class, blah, 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 and my media type text/plain. Okay, when we send this kind of request, oftentimes the request is not a plain text file, but has a format named JSON. So, and this is when we see the brackets and the key and values, this is a JSON format. If we see here it says text, and it's also on a drop down, so we should click on it and select JSON, and this turns a bit colorful. Colorful means good. So now we can give it a second try, but before, let's change some values. ID, pet ID, and quantity, they expect numbers. So let's put ID 12, pet ID 14, and we will want 55 pets, and the ship date that is between quotes, let's put that is going to be in 2023, April 15th, for example. April 15th. The status is also between quotes, so we believe that, or we understand that we can send a word here. For instance, status, we can say paid, And complete, if we see there's a word here but it doesn't have quotes, which means that it's called a Boolean flag. It can accept only two values, true and false. So if we try to put something different, for example, test, this fails. We see that the word turned white and is underlined. If we put something between quotes and we try to send a request, something bad happened. It's exactly that. We have a 500 error code. So let's put here false, for example. And let's try one more time. Awesome. Status 200 OK. 200 OK is good. So we managed to create an order. Now the second part to close the test is to see if we recorded properly. So we have to get it. Let's go back to Swagger. Yes. Okay. And if we take a look at Swagger, it tells us store / order / between curly brackets order ID. Okay, let's go back here. Let's copy the request URL. Okay, easy get. In Swagger it said store / order / ID between curly brackets. So, of course, what do we have to put here? If we send this with the one, we'll get the response from the one that we created in the first place. But now, the one we created before had ID 12. So if we come here, instead of 1, we put 12, and we send it, we get exactly what we created a few seconds ago. See? ID 12, per ID 14, quantity 55. 12, 14, 55 with ship date in 2023 and status paid. Great. Now we can say that we have managed to send this post and this GET request through Postman. To make a closure, what we can do is, before closing everything, we can click here and save and create a new collection. For example, let's save this one, post order, and let's create a new collection. Let's call it pet store. Save to pet store, and we can do the same thing with this one. Let's call it get order. It's gonna save in pet store. Cool. And now in the group pet store, we have the get and the post. This was how to perform an API testing using Postman. For more tutorials like this one, please visit qualityclassroom.com and don't forget to subscribe.